Hello Nippies, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, hi, hello, I'm Nips, a freelance artist, and today we are going to be doing something pretty different, as you can see by all the traditional art supplies on the side. Jump scare, especially coming from a primarily digital art channel, but recently I got commissioned a gouache painting and I really want to share it with you. So here it is. Ooh, how do I put this back? Stop it. So my commissioner is an absolute sweetheart and asked that I do one of my characters, Yotaro. He is Japanese, wearing his yukata at a shrine in the summer, eating watermelon, having a good time, smiling in the grass with some flowers. And I am just so absolutely proud with how this came out. And while I may not have the full speed paint process video of this piece, I do actually still have some snippets of the process that I want to share with you in case you're wondering how I got to this point and what decisions I made in order to get here, in case you're wanting to create one of these pieces for yourself. So if you're interested in that, keep watching and let's get to it. So the first thing that I do is actually try to do some brainstorming. Traditionally, it just kind of helps me get the feel and the vibe for what I need and what I'm gonna need to do later. My first idea was to have Yotaro eating the watermelon under a giant tree, having the shadow over his upper body, and then the little light rays peeking out and hitting certain spots of his face. I also explored making his younger version with like a very giant, cute fro that he normally has. And I kind of just went with this version instead. My story also has these like teal flowers that are very iconic to him and his group's past. And so in this version, which is the one I ended up going with, I ended up putting those flowers here. We've got the watermelon. I ended up having him hold it instead. I'm actually not sure if I like this version more than what I went with, but yeah. And once I have the thumbnail that I like, I'll go ahead and I'll trace my final paper and make sure that I resketch that at the actual size, because you'll see I'll use a light box in order to transfer this sketch onto the final paper. And I really like to do this because you really just want to minimize the wear and tear. I think that doing all of your messy, sketchy work on a different paper is probably the best route to go. For the tools, I absolutely love using, just basic pencil like this, but the MVP is the blender, and this thing is just honestly incredible. It's such a good way to give your sketches shape, form, and different values, and also just blocking large areas, which helps a lot for thumbnails because I just want to know where the shadows are going to be really quickly. And yeah, if you haven't tried this already, please do. It's great. Next, we take this sketch, bring it into a tablet. Normally I do this because it's just a really easy way to test out the colors and how I more or less want things to look in the end. I know more experienced artists can do this on the paper directly, but I'm not there yet. I came over here and I took a picture of my paper sketch and just inserted the colors that I wanted. There's a lot of like shadow layers here, trying to get a general vibe of what it's going to look like. And this step just makes me feel so much better about the color picking process, because even though I have a good idea of what I want it to look most of the time, I think the color picking is very scary, especially since in this particular case, I had never done a painting with gouache. I usually use watercolor, and so I think I was just extra nervous to embark on this new medium journey, which is kind of strange because gouache, unlike watercolor, you can layer and kind of fix, but I was still really scared nonetheless. So here we are. As you'll see later, I actually sometimes do this again while I'm painting if there's any edits that I need to make so that I'm not constantly painting over the same spot. I had to actually do it several times for this one, so all right. The exciting part, here comes the light box. This is the tool to transfer your sketches, your drawings, your anything onto another canvas, paper, etc. safely without ruining your final canvas. As you can see here, I basically take this and using the light, we are able to transfer it over and trace it and start creating safely. These are not as expensive as you would think. I actually got this one on Amazon for like 30 bucks. And this one is very paper thin, so obviously you can find much better quality than this one. But honestly, all you need is a good backlight. And what I used to do before I had one of these was take my smartphone and just put it under the paper and just shine it over and hold both. Listen, if it works, okay? And once I've gotten my sketch onto my final paper, time to get these colors going. And what I used was the Holbein and Winsor & Newton gouache sets. I have my watercolors on this side, and then on this side I've got my gouache. And I bought the Winsor & Newton. There's a lot of like basic staple colors, your blacks, whites, red, yellow, blue. For the Holbein, I used the Itodori set, and it's got some very beautiful color choices. I love pastels, and so I figured I could get some supplementary colors and I wouldn't have to constantly mix. When using them, I actually put them in the Stay Wet palette, and as you can see, they are not wet. Unfortunately, I haven't been using them a lot recently, so I decided to stop trying to keep it wet. I actually have this palette and all of my traditional art supplies in my Amazon down below if you guys are curious exactly which ones I used, and it gives me a little bit of commission, which helps me out a lot, so thank you in advance. Thankfully, the beauty about gouache and watercolor, which is what I've always loved, is that they can always be reactivated. So this is no big deal. Come in, put some water, and you are good to go. And here we are, very close to the end of the drawing, but there was just a lot of things that I was not very happy with. That included the face and the folds over here. I basically took a picture of it in progress, went ahead, created a new layer, and started messing with the angles of his face, which I think I'm much more happy with. And after all the painting, this is what we arrive at. And I wish I had a little bit more insight on the painting process. Maybe one day I will make a more in-depth video about painting if you guys are interested. I'm so excited to get this to the commissioner and see it finally in its new home. But before I go, thank you to everybody on Patreon for supporting and helping these videos and my art come to life every single day. I give a lot of exclusive content over there, whips, sketchbooks, spicy art, all sorts of goodies, so please go check it out if you haven't already. And my shop as well, lots of fun merch over there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and that if you start a painting of your own, that some of the tips here will help you. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe. Thank you guys again, and I will see you guys next video. Bye!